everyone. I'm Kathleen, and today Larry and I are here with Rose Higgins. Rose, how are you?
Good.
Hi, Rose.
Hi, everybody. Super happy to be here.
Great background.
So glad you are. Yes.
Thanks. This is my laundry room. You should see the rest of the place.
I love it. It looks like my RLT office, actually, doesn't it? Wow. You know, Rose, whenever we do these interviews, I always try to remember when I first met the person that we're interviewing. And I really have no idea. I feel like you were such an RLT figure that you just were always there. Like I just always knew your name. I always saw you in the halls. I have no idea when we first met. Do you have any idea? Or?
I would just assume as I eased in there doing shows, like what, did you work there in 1992? What year did you start there?
I did my first show there in 93, but I don't think I really started. I was there 24 years. So whatever that math is. So yeah, no, not that early, but I probably saw you on stage a lot.
And I only did one show in 92. I didn't do another one there until 95. And then I didn't do another one there until 98. So after 98, when you were working there then.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were kind of there first. You were already there when I really started doing shows like every season. And that's
great.
That sounds like me. I did a show in 92 and then moved away, came back and started doing shows there like from 96 to around, 2000 when I no longer was a good enough actor to get cast at RLT.
Oh, stop. Larry, when did you meet Rose? Do you remember?
I remember I had a mentor named Bob Hazard, and he had directed a couple of shows there, and we started going and seeing shows. So I think I probably saw you in a musical back then. But since I'm one of the worst singers in the world, we've never got a chance to work together.
Right, and I don't know how to act. So I can't be in regular plays. All I can do is be in musicals.
Oh, I think singing is more fulfilling than having singing a song on stage is more fulfilling than acting.
Oh.
Well, I wouldn't assume that about everybody, but that is true for me. I mean, I never had a real longing to emote in the acting sort of way.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But I know for some people it brings huge joy and great therapy and great, self-analysis and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I'd rather just rock and roll and then do a musical every once in a while.
I can hear at the ballet from chorus line still get teary-eyed.
Yeah. Well, funny that you say that because about the singing part, because when I directed Snoopy, the musical, Brian Fisher and Mark Ridenauer were in it. They were wonderful, but we went out after a show one day and I overheard them talking about the fact that they hated their dialogue and the whole time they were talking, they couldn't wait to just start singing again. And I was like, what? So yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's probably me most times. But well, yeah, certainly with some musicals, but some musicals have some meat in them. There's some fun lines to deliver out there.
Definitely. So when did you first get the acting, singing bug?
I was thinking about when people ask me what's the first play I ever did, I really like to say, I played a lion we were doing like one of Aesop's fables when I was in about 3rd grade. And I really got really committed to that thing. I mean, I really did. Like, I'm not saying it changed my life or anything, but I just really remember really taking great responsibility for having been given that role. And
I love that.
We had to come up with our own costumes. And so I really, my mom, in fact, bought me a cape, a different color brown plaid cape to be kind of my winter thing that year, or my fall thing, because I needed a costume for the Aesop fable and stuff. So I ended up, and we actually have a picture of me in like mid-roar, man, with that cape up in the air. It's quite dramatic, but the real thing is in 10th grade at Inlow High School, I did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Oh.
Under the direction of Wanda Hawley, y'all. I mean, Wanda was, she was an amazing mentor of mine. So that's where I really caught the bug. I was like, oh, shoot, I want to do this a lot. This seems really fun, you know.
Wow. I love it when we interview people that are local, like, because, you know, I went to school so far away, you know, so it's nice to hear like, oh, wow, Enloe, you know, Broughton, you know, all these, it's great.
I was in RLT's first show, 1936.
Yeah, exactly. You're looking good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So what's the first play you were in, not after high school, but when you started taking it seriously?
Well, I still don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
So, all right, I graduated from Enloe in '83 and I hit Hillsborough Street running. You know, I went down there and got an apartment. And what I wanted to do was have a rock and roll band.
Oh.
But I didn't know how. Like I wasn't, all of a sudden I didn't live with my brother. So I was always in a rock and roll band with my brother since I was 13. And then I'm on my own or whatever. So I was working at the Breakfast House, a 24-hour joint across the street from Theater in the Park. And David Wood and all them used to hang out in there, but I didn't know who they were. I didn't even know what they did. I just saw them all the time because I worked there. Well, my friend Daryl Day, that I went to Enloe High School with, hung out with David and them and was doing some shows. And he came in one day and he said, Rose, they're doing the show Hair over there at Theater in the Park. You ought to go. He said it just like this. You ought to go over there and get you a part, girl. You know, like that. And I was like, huh, like theater, is that something you do outside of high school? I mean, really? I was just like, you know, like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I did. And so I walked over there. Yeah, it was crazy. I'll tell you about the audition when you asked me about an audition song.
Now, was D in that show?
What's that?
Was D in that show?
Daryl Day? Oh, no,
D.
Yes, honey, she was the female lead. Yes, she was that damn show. Yeah. I mean, there were a couple of those other boys. There was a couple of boys in there that I also fell in love with. But, you know, that's when I met my people. 1985, right. That's when I met Brent Wilson, who's been my best friend ever since then.
Oh.
And his brother David starred in that show. Brent
Right.
and David were Berger and what's his name? Manchester, England. And yeah, and D met, or not met, but at least, you know, they started really liking each other. Chris Crew, her damn husband. I mean, we went to parties where they were in the corner making out. We were like, hey, you think there'll be a second date? You think there'll be a second date? You know, shit, how we cradle their grandchildren, for Christ's sake.
I know. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I met all my people then, and I didn't do another show. We all did hair together in '85. Brent and I love to tell people that we met doing hair together. And they think we're hairdressers, but
I love it.
I was afraid, you know, they all hung out at Sadlack's, the sandwich shop, disguised as a dive bar. Or was it a dive bar disguised as a sandwich shop?
Yeah.
I was kind of scared of that place. I was still real green and kind of young, and I don't know, it was just seemed crazy. But Brent finally talked me into hanging out with them some over there. And I did get into rock and roll bands. And then he said to me, just like Daryl Day said to me, he said, hey, Raleigh Little Theater's doing Jesus Christ Superstar. You ought to go over there and get that role, girl.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, then.
I love that. Now, you started to talk about a mentor. Tell us about that. Was she your high school teacher, your mentor? Do you have other ones?
Wanda Holly. Yeah, so Wanda was, you know, she was in her prime. I was one of her girls. She was in her prime at Enloe High School. Man, she was awesome. So I had lived in Cary. We transplanted down here end of the 70s when I was, you know, 11 or 12 or something. And I was probably getting ready to quit school. If I had to go to Cary High School, I probably, maybe not probably, but, you know, I was kind of on a bad path, right? You know, my folks were divorced. I was a latchkey kid. Both of my brothers right before me had not graduated from high school, and you know, we were roughing it, man. My mom was like, she can play a little bit of piano, and she's pretty gregarious, you know, for 12 or 13, or well, no, I guess by then I was probably about 14. She got me into Enloe High School, or she said, you know, Enloe High School is they're the first magnet school in North Carolina, you know, and I think if you could go over there and audition for that and get into that might be good for you. So I did that, and I think it saved my ass.
Oh.
So I got in there, and when I got in there, you know, what continued to help me save myself a little bit was Wanda Holly, who was the drama teacher. And in 10th grade, she cast me in, probably because she had to, but I was in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And Wanda said one thing to me in there that I just got right from the beginning. And I have, you know, I know a lot of people that just that don't kind of get it. And I've been on stage with a lot of folks that don't seem to get it. But no matter what your role is, you know, you're the star of the damn show, even if you're not saying anything.
Right.
I mean, I would feel like that just when I was a kid and stuff. I'd be, oh, like this little walk on. Well, I'm going to just own this damn thing. And I don't mean pulling focus.
Right.
I mean, bringing my joy into that thing, just being like, this is the thing that I love, you know.
It's your story.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, like, yeah, just let me be part of the story, man. I don't need to star in the damn thing. And I think that's, I don't know, you know, if I ever had any humility, which is really rare, but, you know, it comes from those moments. It comes from remembering that stuff. Wanda Holly said to me, so I didn't get a role. I mean, I wanted to be Lucy. Who the hell didn't? You know, I wanted to be damn, do you know something, Strode? Ah! I mean, I wanted to sing that song. I was like, this is like heavy metal. I love that. You know, to be that Lucy chick. Well, I didn't get it. Of course I didn't get it. I mean, whatever. But Wanda said to me, she said, we were in rehearsal one day and she said, Rose, what character are you? And I was like, I didn't get a role. I'm just in the ensemble, you know, or whatever. She's like, but what character are you? I was like, I don't get it. You know, I don't know. My character doesn't have a name. And essentially she told me, make up a damn name, make a story for that character. Yes. And I got it, you know, in 10th grade, I understood that. So when I was on stage in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, I was Frida, the girl with the naturally curly hair, who was like a really prominent little character sometimes in some of the episodes. And I was like, this is the business of Frida. This is cool. I'm going to bring the business of Frida to this story. And she's very important, you know, VIP. Like every time you walk out there, VIP. So that's what stuck with me about Wanda. And, you know, she is a soul sister in the way that she may or may not have detected in me that I was, you know, real disturbed in high school. I just was, I'm in recovery and I was already an active alcoholic at that time. And you know, doing drugs and things like that, and didn't have much supervision at home. So I was kind of unstable, but I didn't skip school a lot because I liked school. And people like Wanda, you know, teachers like Wanda, authority figures like Wanda, soul sisters like Wanda, you know, I could relate to that so much. I would go there to get her vibe. And so that saved me in essence also, which is also art, you know. I mean, it wasn't particularly theater, but it was love and grace, and she's full of that. And you know, she still is. I mean, she's still, you know, she's a fucking RLT diva. Pardon my language. I'll say that again. Wanda's an RLT diva. I mean, how much grace have I gotten in my life that I go around in these circles, and they're not even great big circles, you know. I mean, I stay like this and I get these angels, you know. It's pretty amazing.
I love that. I love that. After high school, have you ever gotten any great advice on acting or singing that you want to share with us?
Woo. Well, I've been hanging out with Brent Wilson. So
a lot of advice.
And then I was under the direction of Haskell Fitzsimmons, you know, a whole bunch. Mm-hmm. And Haskell wasn't a genius. I kind of feel like Brent's a genius, and that doesn't mean one is smarter than the other. You know, Haskell knew so much about, Haskell to me was an energy like Wanda had been to me in high school. He encompassed everything in me. You know, he didn't just draw the art out of me. Shit, that's gonna make me cry.
You're gonna make me cry. Yeah.
You know, sometimes I've been under the direction of some people where they're drawing art out of me, and that's a beautiful relationship, but that's a kind of short period to like really melt into somebody's soul. It's not impossible. Like it's happened with me before. I guess it's about a 3-month thing, you know, when you audition and then when the thing is done. And so with Haskell, I had such repeated scenarios, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we learned to trust each other and love each other. And we had all that time off campus together. You know, we exercised together for years and stuff. So we, but what was the question?
Great advice.
Yeah, so Brent, you know, mostly, and the directors that I've had, I mean, everybody, and you know who's really taught me what I've found most valuable is musical directors, because I mean, I just don't ever really concentrate too much on about the acting part, because most of it is just the singing part, because I'm in musicals. So musical directors, Julie Flincham, you know, has said incredibly valuable information to me before. I'm just not the same singer that I was. I mean, hell, I got nominated for a Canty Award for Jesus Christ Superstar, and I just wasn't even a great singer. I mean, I have the tape. Like, I was so drunk. I was just like, I don't know how to love you. I don't know. I'm not saying it was terrible, but, you know, I was super young, and I was just, you know, I was like physically just like really out of shape and all that stuff. So Julie would say things to me that really got me through that kind of stuff. She'd say, like, stop clearing your throat like that. You know, like, I'd be backstage going, because I smoked and stuff. It was awful, you know. Anyway.
Do you have, do you have a favorite performer, singer, actress?
I have tons of them. Like, it's not a contest, you know what I mean? There's just too many to name. But I'll tell you that I'm really enraptured and in awe of, and really appreciative still and again of Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And like Greta Garbo as of late, and Joan Crawford and Norma Shearer, like the real old black and white gals. I've been really liking that stuff a lot lately. I am just not up on, like, if you named anybody from modern theater. I mean, I don't even like theater. I don't even, you know, I go to see plays that my friends are in, and I love them. I love all the plays that I see my friends in, you know? And I'm not saying I don't like theater, but so anyway, I just don't know about actors like that. But, you know, in movies, Philip Seymour Hoffman, you know, magical. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. Chrissie Hynde from The Pretenders, I really love her real supernatural delivery, not supernatural, but supernatural delivery, that she was just meant to do all the stuff that she did. Like, I bet her kids are probably really cool, because she probably was just meant to be a mom, you know, like that kind of thing. And then Jonette Napolitano from the band Concrete Blonde, I've always described her as Chrissie Hynde with breath. I feel the same way about Jonette, but she just has huge lungs. And Chrissie never holds a note. She's not interested in it, you know, holding a note, because she's playing the damn guitar as well.
That's right.
But yeah, whatever is on the stereo is my favorite.
What? Tell us about your audition story now.
Oh, okay. So I have a few of them, but was I talking about my high school one?
Well, my question was, what was a bad one? What was like one of your worst ones or something?
Oh, I know what the one I was thinking about before was the one for hair, which is one story. But let me tell you this one about when I was in, I think 10th grade. I had this wonderful friend named Steve who was, I don't know how he did this. Well, maybe we were one and the same. He was the most outgoing, the friendliest, the most understanding guy I've ever known, but he was like crippled with shyness and stuff. I mean, I haven't been crippled with shyness, but I feel like I am. I don't know. Steve and I were besties. He thought I was a rich kid. Like, all the clothes that I wore in the 10th grade, my mom made, because we couldn't afford clothes that fit me. I mean, we might, if I had been a normal sized person, we might have been able to afford some clothes, but in the late 70s and early 80s, all the skirts and shirts at Lane Bryant were like $80 a piece. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I had homemade clothes. So I looked good because I could get all tailored up. I mean, I was wearing like peasant blouses and wrap skirts and shit, you know. My friend Steve thought I was a rich kid, and I kind of thought he was a poor kid because of the way he dressed. But turns out, nope, wasn't so. Anyway, Steve said to me one time, he said, there's a community theater out there in the world called Raleigh Little Theater, and they're doing a show called Gypsy. And you ought to go down there and get that role, girl. You know, and I was like, okay. So, like, I had only ever, I think I had done You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown by that time. And then maybe and you know, in high school, there's just one big musical, you know, whatever. So I had done that. And so he was like, I'm going to go audition. I mean, I didn't know anything about Gypsy or anything like that. So it was the last year that dude, before Haskell got there. Was his name Noel or Nowell or Noel?
Oh yeah, Noel.
Like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It was his last year.
Okay.
Just coincidentally, I missed Haskell by 1 year, but y'all, I went down to audition for Gypsy, and I wanted to be the mama. I was 17 years old. I was 16 years old. And I was like, I would like to be the mama, please, you know, and I filled out the form, and Steve filled out his thing. I'm not even sure what he wanted to be. Oh, and of course I was too. I was like, if I can't be the mama, I'll be that other one. Everybody could just suspend their disbelief at this little fat 16-year-old. And so he got a part and I didn't. And I didn't even get a call back. No, but this is the thing. So I went in there. I didn't know anything about auditioning. I did not. Oh, I just told the punchline, didn't I? That I didn't get a part, but so we went on down there and I brought the sheet music. So I didn't know what to do. And he was like, they say that you have to sing 16 bars of a song. I'm like, great. I've got tons of sheet music because I play piano. And which I didn't really, I just dinked around on the piano a little bit, but I got the sheet music to the American pop classic by Peaches and Herb, Reunited. And I brought that shit into Raleigh Little Theater. And I said, you know, like, hello, hello, you know, whatever. I did the whole thing. I got up there. I was like, I'm going to get this damn role. Come on, you know. I don't know what I thought, but there I sat there, reunited, and it feels so good.
That's okay.
And somebody was like, thank you. I was like, okay, see you at callbacks. And y'all know what I did? I called that guy at Raleigh Little Theater to ask him why I didn't get the role. And just had a conversation with him. And he was
nice.
I mean, I don't even really remember what he said, but I was just like, I was just curious what, you know, but maybe, I don't know if I thought I could brush up on my next thing or whatever. And he said, physically, you're too large to play the younger gal, and you're far too young to play the older gal, and we've only got a certain amount of room in the chorus, and I can't cast everybody. And I was like, cool, thanks, you know, appreciate it, good to know those things or whatever. But so years later, when I went to audition for Hair at Theater in the Park, I still didn't know any better.
Did you sing the same song?
No, but I walked in there with my guitar and I sang a song that I wrote. I sang like this, just a kind of a, you know, little pop ditty, blah, the thing that I wrote. And I did the monologue from the movie The Rose. Oh. And before, like, they told me to come to callbacks, and the costumer said, so I got a good role in there. I got one of those, it was Jeannie, the pregnant chick. Okay. And the costumer asked if I could just wear my clothes back. She's like, can you just wear those clothes you have on? And as it turned out, they did that with everybody. Brent and David and me and a few others just wore our street clothes in that damn play. Wow. I mean, shit, Brent's brother, David, wore patchwork jeans, you know, literally. For years, he would sew little pieces of fabric on. So yeah, auditions, I never got good at it. I still would always bring the song from the show, and everybody was like, you're not supposed to sing the song from the show, you know.
That's against the rules.
I didn't hear about any rules. I thought you could drink beer in the dressing room too.
Don't let Vicky hear you.
What's your favorite? Can you say there's a favorite show you've been in?
Well, you know, they're like children. But there's like, I mean, I have like, you know, there's sentimentality attached to most of those shows. Right. You know, but like some of them, like that damn Patsy Cline show was so exciting because it was just, for me personally, there was a lot of stuff going on. So it was just a really exciting time of my life. I was reconnecting with my dad. I was 32 years old, and that's the first time my dad ever heard me sing. Oh. So I had, you know, and I was in a relationship through the rehearsal, before I even auditioned, and then after the show closed, I had been breaking up with and getting back together with this just another alcoholic. I mean, it was real tumultuous. And so that made great fodder for energy for being Patsy Cline, because that's what she came from, man. I mean, you just, you know, I didn't have to fake it too bad when I was singing, I'm back in baby's arms. Because there was a couple times he was in the audience, and that morning we'd been broke up, and that night there he was, you know.
I used to think you had to be depressed to be really good on stage, but
I was huge.
That's not really true.
Depressed. Yeah, I was real freaking depressed, man, at that, you know. But it was easy to connect to her physically too, because I just sound like her in that way. I'm not, you know what I mean? We have the same, what, timbre or whatever the thing is. So yeah, that was super duper fun. And well, Sweeney Todd, which I just did most recently, I would love to revisit one day, because I was having a really hard time emotionally during that show. That was the big crash. I was having a big, you know, spiritual and kind of emotional crash at that time. And I was white knuckling through a lot of stuff. So I didn't really get to relax and enjoy that. I mean, I didn't, it was not dreadful, but it was super hard anyway. It was super hard because it was super hard. It's freaking time. So it was really hard. Definitely. I couldn't memorize stuff. I was having a really hard time with memorization and
you were amazing.
Poor David Henderson. I mean,
you were amazing. I don't,
I mean, I did good. I did real good. Yeah. And, you know, one thing, like, I have to credit the material, even though Sondheim is like super hard, as we say, or whatever. There's just like when you buckle into that thing, it's like, and I've never been a marathon runner, but I have power walked a long distance a time or two. You know, when you buckle into that thing, there's something about when you're learning that stuff, you know, when you're learning it and you're loving it and you're a little afraid of it and you're admiring it so much, and you kind of hop all into the middle of it. The art itself sweeps you up and it makes it easier to learn. Right. To me, it's just like a bit of a block goes away when I let myself go. Absolutely. You know, like I'm just like, screw it. If I walk out there and I fall, I'm just going to have to fall. Everybody's going to have to be cool. I'm just going to try it. And, you know, so once you relax, it's good. So no, the show wasn't horrors to me or anything, but I was having a hard time. I'd like to do it again when I'm a little more aware of that. Yeah.
Get David Henderson on the phone and, you know.
Yeah. Is there a role you still want to play?
What? Say it again.
Is there a role you're really dying to play?
Oh, I have got to play Mama in Gypsy. I just feel like you know, like talk about real full circle. I mean, that would be, and plus it's like time. Like I feel like I'm probably a little older than she was in that movie or in the story or whatever, but I can still get away with it. We can wig me up and, you know, whatever. I can still get away with it. Yeah, that'd be fun. That would be really fun.
You were saying before how, you know, in high school, you got it because of your teacher. So, and then you said that you were on stage with some people who don't. So what is the type of actor, the best type of actor to be on stage with?
Someone who's not in fear. Yeah, because, you know, there's just so much to fear in life itself. And there's nothing to fear in art. There's nothing to fear in rock and roll. There's nothing to fear in theater. Anything that I fear is just coming from my ego, you know, or my shitty self-esteem. So, you know, hopefully if I immerse myself enough in the things that bring me knowledge about myself, that I can knock that fear back a little bit. You know, like falling down in front of somebody. I mean, that's kind of literal, and I don't think I've ever actually really fallen down on stage, but I sure have messed up before, and mostly at rehearsal, you know, because I take the chance. I'm just like, I don't care if Brent laughs at me, or I don't care if Haskell looks at me cross-eyed, or I don't care if the girls in the back that wanted this role talk shit about me in the dressing room. I mean, I just, you know, I came here to feed my soul. You know, I started doing that at a really young age, and I don't do that everywhere. In theater, I'm greatly capable of reaping joy, and so I have to do it because I don't, you know, I laugh at myself and I have fun in the pottery studio, but I don't come out of the pottery studio feeling like a child of God, you know, feeling like just in possession of an amazing gift. And I don't need to, because I go to theater and do that. I go sing rock and roll and do that. I, you know, sit on my damn husband's lap and do that. You know, and everybody's not supposed to be doing it everywhere. So sometimes, but it's one of the things I love about community theater. I'll share the stage with a scaredy cat. If it's, you know, if they just want to do it so bad that they have got to get up there and do it, I want to be with them. That's one of the reasons I don't want to be a pro. I mean, I'm an asshole. Like, I don't want to be on stage with a bunch of assholes. I don't want to be around a bunch of Mick Jaggers or whatever. I want to be in the back with the Charlie Wattses, you know.
There you go.
You know, we all have great moments on stage. Can you tell us one of your great moments?
Great moments on stage. Oh, gosh. Well, some of the funnest things I ever did was great moments on stage. Is great mean like all happy and stuff? Or
that you felt were successful, that you felt were most successful.
Okay, so when I played the witch in Into the Woods, that was a little difficult for me to connect to at first. And I had to really, like they say, fake it till you make it. That's what rehearsal's about. Haskell used to say, that's why we have these little meetings, you know, and that's why you discover things at home and while you're driving in the car and taking your dog for a walk, you know, you're exploring this stuff. But I was having a hard time. I talked a lot with Haskell about it and a lot with Julie, who was real helpful, because I don't have kids. And it's not just because I don't have kids. I'm sure lovely women have slayed that role, you know, who have never given birth. But it was, you know, kind of that theme and stuff. I was thinking about that stuff, and it finally started coming to me. Like, everybody was so helpful. I talked to my own mom about it and stuff, and Mary Catherine Walston, who played Rapunzel, the witch's daughter, you know, she and I talked and stuff. I gave her a nickname, like a daughter, like a, you know, daughter's nickname and stuff. So one night we were out there, and nobody would know probably it from any other night except me, but yeah, I really gained like a big push in the belief in myself about transmitting feelings and emotions and moving people. And I think it's like the witch is like real pissed, like, and all the other women characters are on stage. And I think maybe the giant just squashed somebody, but it's like the witch's last, well, shit, it might be called the last midnight, something like that, but it's real intense, you know. And I always had to really kind of fake it. You know, I had to just push it and fake it in rehearsal. And I knew the lines and I knew the song and I knew the blocking. I looked at the girls and I'm pissed and I'm all that. But I was like, I'm just really not phoning it in. But I was like, I'm a little in over my head. Good thing I'm cute and I can sing well. You know, kind of having that sort of moment.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I just like something really came from kind of my center of my being, kind of like the women's intuition, like some sort of intuition clicked me into, I'm in this sisterhood. I don't need to have given birth to, I am part of this sisterhood. I was given birth to, you know, I am here. I don't have to procreate to understand this,
the relationships. Yeah.
You know, this depth of sorrow and loss and stuff. And so I cried, and I didn't mean to, and I would never try to cry on purpose, but it was authentic because I had that moment. So that felt really powerful. And that was like, and then one other thing I'll tell real quick about in the Patsy Cline show, this was so cute. Like, that damn show was just, it sold out. It was in a tiny little theater, so it sold out easily because it was so tiny. And we, like, there was a holdover, you know, there was a few performances, and we would have kept holding over, but the guys in the band had other commitments and stuff. So it was really toward the end of the run. We were all so excited and just so happy to be there. And I had some really great moments and stuff. So the Sad Blacks, where Brent and I hung out and worked for so many years, excuse me, was owned by a woman named Rose. And Rose was there that day, this day in the audience. And so I was singing the song Rose of San Antone. And I was taking some liberties. I mean, I was definitely taking some liberties with this role. By this time in the role, in the run, you know, I was like, it's the Rose Martin show. Come on in, you know, look at my fancy band, you know. I mean, really. So I was taking some liberties, but on this one day, I was singing the end of Rose of San Antone. And I said, the Rose of San Antone. And then Rose Schwetz, who was out in the audience, I pointed at her, full blast, just pointed at her ass. And I was like, the Rose of San Antone. And then the third time that I did it, I went, and Rose, the Rose of San Antone. Like, oh my God, that was like, woo, you know. But I'm just saying, like, it was okay. I don't think I did it in like, I think everybody that was there celebrated it.
Right.
You know, and it was like toward the end of the show, and I didn't like really break character too bad. But, you know, that's what I like. And again, it's community beep theater, people. You know what I mean? Like, I barely signed anything that said I would be here for all the rehearsals. I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm like, I'm not being, that's as much as a rebel as I'm going to be. You know what I mean? I won't miss rehearsals, and
I'll show up.
Yeah, but I do
go to rehearsals
and drink Diet Coke in my costume.
Well, I have to say something about the Patsy Cline show, which I absolutely loved. And I know, Rose, I probably told you this already, but it was in the Gaddy, and I was in like the front row of some side that I think was the kitchen. And you were the thing that always I admire about you, and I'm just awed about, is how comfortable you are on the stage. Like, I acted a lot. I don't think I ever was 100% comfortable as you are all the time. And you were over by the kitchen, and you were having a conversation on the stage, and you're in the middle of a dialogue, and you're cooking something, and then you looked at me and said, honey, will you watch this and let me know when it boils? And then you walked away, and I was like, whoa. Like, it was just so natural, though. And I just said, oh my God, it was great. It was so funny, and you were just so, you know, at ease, which was wonderful.
Yeah, I told Haskell one time that I feel like my ease on stage is because I enjoy people looking at me. I like to be the center of attention, but I don't want to bumble. So in real life, I bumble. I feel like I just bumble a lot. Mm-hmm. So if I have a script and it's a good script and I got a good costume on and there's a song coming up in a minute and like all that kind of thing, I'm like, everybody's gonna like me. You know, like this will be easy. It's so much easier. Yeah. To me, it's so much easier to do that than stand around at a party.
Yes, absolutely. I feel the same. What's the funniest thing that ever went wrong on the stage? Do you recall?
Well, let's see, funniest things that went wrong. Well, you know, when things go wrong, I do not think it's funny.
That's true. That is true.
Well, you have the hat story you told about.
The what?
Right? It was Mary Catherine Walston in Once Upon a Mattress.
Yeah.
And Brent was singing with her, and she had this beautiful solo, and that pointy hat kept falling off her head. She kept having to do this, and finally Brent just held it on her head so she could sing the whole song. And I think that's when I fell in love with Brent, because I thought, that's the kind of guy I want to be on stage with. Yeah, you know, someone who's going to take care of me. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because he's not afraid.
Right.
Right. You know, and it's like he absorbs the judgment. If people are out there going, he looks ridiculous holding her hat, but man, sounds great. He's willing to do that.
He is willing to do that.
Well, so there's one story that I make Tim and or Dennis tell me all the time, and I wasn't even there, but it's maybe the funniest thing I never saw happen on stage. But apparently, a gang of them, including Lee Baker, they were doing HMS Pinafore, or one of those Gilbert and Sullivan thing out there in the amphitheater, and somebody swept Lee on stage to dance. And it was a pirate who had a big old bird on his shoulder. And when they broke to dance, the bird had gotten in Lee's hair. And so she said, woo, like that, you know, like did a big twirl around, and this big, huge bird is hanging off of her head. You know, I mean, I love that story.
That's a great story.
I'm just such a burnout. I can't remember any really great stuff.
No. That's great.
Now, Rose, if you couldn't perform on stage, what's something else you'd want to do in the theater arts?
In theater arts, oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, I'm really intimidated about tech work, like running lights, or I mean, I'm not stage manager material. Even lights really scares me. Dressing, I've done costuming things, but it wouldn't make me happy to like have to do it a lot.
Right.
You know, I've done it in some volunteer positions, but you know what? I really enjoyed working in the box office. I worked in the box office at RLT for a while, and yeah, like and it was nice because it's a little loosey-goosey. I'm not highly organized or OCD in that way, but I do like a bit of a system, you know, and that kind of stuff. So that worked for me. So maybe I could work in the box office, but you know, in this strange world that you speak of, I don't think Rose would do well. I just need to be on stage.
I would be what would it be like to work at a box office for a show you didn't get cast in? So when they come up and say, it would have been better, but you know, if I'd been cast, but hope you enjoy the show anyway.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, there must have been yeah, my only experience with that has been like oh, I star in that. Oh, good. Are you coming Friday night? I'm the star of that.
That's great.
See you there.
If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self when you first started doing theater, what advice would you told yourself? To relax more. You know, to just relax and you know, be less inhibited and less threatened, and you know, just all the stuff. I mean, I think I did pretty good. You know, I think I did good. Like, I think the universe whispered in my ear, and I listened to it pretty well. So anything that I would want to tell my younger self would be probably just what most people want to say. You know, it'll be okay. Like, it's all right. You just get out there and do that thing. You know. Right. Yeah. What's the first thing you want to do when we get over this pandemic and we can go out and see people again?
Come back home. No, I'm just kidding. I tell you, it has not been brutal to me. Although, you know, I was going to audition for Urinetown at RLT. So I was like ready, you know, kind of cosmically and in my life to do a show again. So naturally, I want to perform again. Mm-hmm. But I kind of want to change some of my routine. Now, I miss the pottery studio. That's the thing. And I miss in-person 12-step meetings, but you know, God, I mean, I Zoom constantly, just some days all day long, you know, because now you don't have to drive to meetings. You can just pop on Zoom, you know, so it's like the recovery is good. So yeah, pottery studio, and I have a niece that's getting married, so she says, you know, in December. Mm. Here in North Carolina, and it's just so weird because it's like I don't want to go to that. So right. I don't know. I'm just taking this whole thing one day at a time. But you know,
that's all we can do.
Yeah.
You know, that's all we can do. Well, this has been so much fun. I feel like it's always a walk down memory lane for me. I hear these stories and I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that. I remember that. You know, just so much fun.
I know, it's good. Yeah, it never, I was thinking today, you know, that I can't bookend, I can never bookend again. I've had so much of I've looked back, you know, and so much of it has been like before and after, or in my 30s, or when I was single, or before I stopped drinking, like, you know, just that whole thing. And I need to accept that it's all me. It's all my life. It's all, you know, it's all during. There's no before and after. It's not 30s and 40s and 50s and all that. It's just each of these days, you know, the glory of each of these days. And
yeah.
Well,
I love it. It was very eloquent the way you put a lot of the why we do what we do. You know, it's true. I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons Larry and I started doing this, because we missed just talking about theater and talking to people about theater. And
yeah,
you know, it's such a hole in your, you know, in your heart when you can't go and see something or be in something.
Yeah, I got really, you know, Heather put out oh, it's been, 6 or 8 weeks ago, or even a few months ago, just a email thing about, do you want to come talk to me in the amphitheater about theater? And I was like, I do. And we both ended up out there crying, just like, I remember, because there just is like and she said the same thing. I can recall what year it was because of the show I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember. The only reason I can remember what year this niece was born was because the show I did that year, or, and that kind of stuff. It's all so associated with that. And me particularly, it is Raleigh Little Theater, because with only 2 exceptions since I was, 19 years old, it's all been, it's been 30 plus shows, all at Raleigh Little Theater.
Wow.
And you look back, and you grow up in theater. I remember when I first started doing theater, it's like my car would always break down during the show because I had no money. It's okay. Can I just get my car through this show? And
yeah, exactly. I know.
Yeah, you remember which bad car you had.
Right. And you date. When people say, when did you date so and so? I was like, okay, I was doing that show.
Yeah.
Exactly. The plays are actually how you do timestamps of your entire life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, well, thank you so much again. This has been great fun. And I look forward to seeing you maybe in the amphitheater one day.
Yeah. If you ever want to go to the amphitheater and talk about things and cry and
okay.
Call me, I'm your gal.
I will.
I love you guys.
I love you too. Thank you so much.
Okay, see you soon.
Okay, bye.